Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the very last episode of CSGO News this week. I hope you guys all enjoy it. Another great week. I think we had 5 CSGO videos this week, and thank you all for the great comments and feedback. But we're really going to the very extent of some smaller stories out there. The first few are some bigger stories, but again, in terms of CSGO News, not too much happening in the past 24 hours. But I hope you guys all enjoy. As per usual, all of today's stories will be timestamped down below. And the first of which, though, guys, revolving around, well, female players that actually are fans of CSGO. If you guys do not remember, I think it was early last week, Bloomberg published an article about the female fan base of gamers out there. They actually published an article as well as a video saying that 45% of gamers were actually female. Now, this was widely ridiculed because it was misconstrued based off the information they used, and actually a brand new article out there as well. I will link it down below for all of you, brought to us with some brand new information about fans of these video games. And I thought I'd show it with all of you guys and share it with you because actually CSGO is mentioned. Of the top 4 games they did research, well, CSGO is on the lowest portion of having female fans. Currently 9% of the fan base for CSGO is female, followed of course by Call of Duty, Gears of War, and led by Overwatch, which has double the amount of female fans. Apparently, according to their research, was actually backed up and has a lot more statistical data than of course the Bloomberg did at 18% of female fans for Overwatch. So this kind of backs up the the evidence of that first report being a bit biased. If 45% of gamers are female, you would think there'd be a few more fans, and I just wanted to share with all of you because we're trying to reach that different part of the fan base. I am obviously doing a terrible job, as you guys can see, because a whole whopping 1.8% of you guys are actually female. So if you guys are female, you want to tell your friends. But again, I thought it'd be cool to share with all of you guys the lack of female fan base, although it's still a pretty solid percentage. You know, there's a lot of CSGO fans out there, so even just short of 10% that's a lot of females actually cheering for CSGO. So it'd be very cool to see how many female players are actually playing CSGO. But thanks to Jordan Fragan, who actually made that data out there, and I will link that article down below if you guys want to read through that. A great read, but on top of that, for all you PashaBiceps fans out there, his future is still a giant question mark. He has now posted his first ever official YouTube video, which is one of the weirdest yet also oddly funny videos I've seen in a long time. I will link that down below for all of you guys. It has English subtitles, but you don't really need it. It's actually not really a commentary. Just go watch it. And also on top of that, though, I will show you one thing, a very important message from Pasha himself at the very end of the video, and just prepare your ears because he talks like twice as fast as I do.
Witajcie na kanale YouTube, to mój oficjalny kanał Papito. Nagrałem dla Was materiał ku przestrodze, który mam nadzieję dotrze do Waszych rodziców i do Was samych i da głęboko do myślenia. Jak wiecie, większość programerów po skończeniu grania nie ma co sobą zrobić, nie mają pomysłu, bo całe życie spędzili na grach, nie mają żadnego doświadczenia, więc pamiętajcie, żebyście zadbali o swoją edukację, w międzyczasie się uczyli, jakieś swoje doświadczenie budowali, czy to w branży sportowej poza graniem. Pamiętajcie też o sporcie, bo jest bardzo ważne, i o rodzinie oczywiście, bo znam wielu graczy, wielu ludzi, którzy zapomnieli, mają rodzinę i zostali tylko z samym komputerem na długie lata. Co tu dużo mówić. Mam nadzieję, że to będzie takie ala przesłanie bye Papito. Jak się podobał filmik, no to taki w górę i do następnego.
But it was very interesting because he makes a very solid point there about many pro gamers out there only attach themselves to the game. They have no backup plan. He's been pretty lucky himself to make a fair bit amount of money and now be able to do whatever he wants. Kind of weird though, he's talking about this as a talking point, yet we have no idea what his future might be. No, of course he might post YouTube videos in the future as well as a full-time streamer. We're not really sure if he's actually retired from CSGO. Rumors out there saying he's going to make a mixed Polish team, although he might have been trolling. His future is unknown, guys, but his YouTube channel has just started, and of course I will link that down below. But also on top of that, every piece of news from here on out is pretty small. So if you guys want to just leave now, I'll see you back here Monday. But if you want to stick it out, the first of which, actually according to Big Clan, guys, they have now launched their own Esportal, which is pretty much a third-party service like ESCA or Fejtz for German players only. So all you Germans out there, congratulations, you have a brand new service to use yourselves. The one great thing about Esportal as well, they have several locations. It's going to be actually Sweden, I think also Portugal, as well as Brazil, and now in Germany. You can only play it though if you're from, of course, that location. Alongside that, the one benefit they do have is this service is actually free, although I will say, based off information out there, it will not really be a competitor for Fejtz and ESCA. Many of us know ever since ESCA and Fejtz have launched, they have pretty much taken over the entire market. Although it is a much smaller service, it still is free though, and Big Clan has now partnered with them. And also on top of that, if any of you guys are confused on the brand new major format, I've talked about this on my channel. Obviously, for some of you, I just talk way too fast. I'm not the best at explaining things. That's actually Carmack, guys. I'll link a full video down below for all of you. For anyone who's confused on the brand new minor or major formats, he does an amazing job actually enunciating and pronouncing and actually talking at a slow pace the brand new major format. That video will be linked down below. Also on top of that, guys, some smaller news out there in the Chinese scene. It's a brand new organization, BTRG, actually signing Fejtz, which many of us know, guys, throughout 2017, 2018, a great stand-in player for many organizations out there. People actually thinking he might sign with a steady team. Well, this is that steady team, guys. A brand new Chinese project, again, going to be called BTRG. I'm not really sure what that does stand for currently. I'm sure we'll find out in the future. Alongside him will be Truth, although I don't know too much about this player in itself. I do trust Fejtz to have a consistent project ahead of him if he's willing to sign with these guys full time, because he's been known to just be a stand-in player. They're going to announce their next 3 Chinese players because it will be a Chinese team sometime in the near future. And I just want to say this is actually very well timed. If you guys have seen our Asian minor team so far, this year especially will be a brand new cracking open of the Asian scene. And if Fejtz is on this roster, guys, pretty much anyone they sign, I do feel truly has a chance to make the next major, or at least the minor for the Asian scene, and then of course have a chance to make the major. That Asian scene right now is weaker than it's ever been, so it's a great time to try and enter it. So congrats to Fejtz. He is Mr. Worldwide, guys. He has now joined a team, though, supposedly full-time. And speaking of the Asian scene, guys, TyLoo and some breaking news out there have now finalized their entire team. Of course, it's going to be adding Attacker and Summer just last week from Flash Gaming. Then Flash Gaming did disband, unfortunately enough. It will be, though, finalizing the roster with a brand new coach, which was much needed, but also kind of a surprise, guys. Johnta from HR, the Ukrainian man, will be joining this roster. It's not the first time a Ukrainian man has actually joined the TyLoo roster. It was actually a few months ago. It was Bondic on the team, so maybe they've been exchanging some notes back and forth about how to coach these guys or how to talk to them, because communication is certainly going to be a key issue going forward. It was an issue before this change. It will be an issue going forward as well. I believe the team, I'm going to assume, is probably going to try and speak English. I don't think they're going to teach all 5 players Ukrainian, and I do not think, unless they get a translator, that Johnta is going to know how to pronounce Chinese for these guys. But again, assuming going forward English will be his language of choice as well. The team has been bouncing back between those two, that being Chinese and English, so communication will still be an issue, but I can't really complain too much, guys. They needed a coach. They got a very experienced coach, and yeah, going forward, it should be an improvement for this roster if the communication issues can be fixed. And very lastly, in this episode of CSGO News, I do apologize. I'm trying to share all the CSGO news possible. I try to want to get a daily episode out there every single day of the week for all of you, but it will be very lastly Team Mythic Reborn, or the Mythic Stream Team, as many of you guys know, adding their new fit player in place of Adren, who has gone to Liquid to coach. Congrats again to that guy. Amazing improvement there, and of course a well-deserved role for him, guys. First time coaching, and certainly as his careers in IGL did a great job, especially with Mythic, which is definitely going to be a big hit for this roster. Although I will say their new fit member, guys, will be Lasky. He's been a long-time FPL streamer, pretty fun to watch, as well as a pretty good rifle. I would say on this team, actually probably a top rifler. So in terms of skill for rifles, he definitely competes with this team. The team will take a hit in the IGL role. There's no doubt about it. Although Flom's been taking his turn, actually a majority of this roster, in my opinion, could probably take the IGL role. Obviously not going to be up to par with Adren right away, but I do have high hopes for this roster, similar to why the Asian scene, why I'm kind of hopeful for that new Chinese roster. Whoever they do sign, they certainly have a chance, is because just like the Asian scene, the North American scene or the American scene right now will certainly be wide open in terms of minor qualifiers. We have seen, especially when we saw the Asian minor teams, the North American minor teams as well, they're obviously a bit better in terms of skill, as well as we know them more. They're more notoriety around them because we know those names more often, but still in terms of skill-wise, Mythic certainly has a chance to be a minor qualifying team. They were this year, although they did not place too well at that minor qualifier, guys. You look at the stats when they had Adren, this team played a team like Envious very close. That best of 3 went to map 3. They lost to Team Test Takers as well, but every single loss they had at the minor qualifier for North America, they secured at least 11 rounds. So they were not blowout matches, and certainly if this team can actually lock some stuff down, they're meant to have fun, right? It's pretty crazy that a stream team can actually have a chance to make a North American minor, but this team certainly still has that chance going forward, and so that's why I like the pickup. Obviously, they needed a 5th player. Is he the best option available? Well, everyone wanted Tark, or everyone wanted, Freakazoid to join these guys. That just wasn't feasible. He's certainly a solid pickup here, guys, and Mythic Reborn they'll be hanging around, certainly, and I hope they do. But as always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. I'll be back here Monday, guys, breaking down the drama and that kind of stuff. But I hope you guys all enjoy. Have a great weekend, and my name is Jake. Bye.